Welcome back. Today we're going to start preparing ourselves for a sugarcane pose against the wall. It's a challenging variation of half moon pose. Each time you hold a pose, you're improving your alignment through muscle memory and building your strength isometrically. This type of muscle contraction helps to build longer, leaner muscles. Let's start this challenge. Starting out, laying flat on your back, we're going to use your block, place it to the side. So keeping your feet about hip width apart and rolling all the way down. Bringing both knees in and giving yourself a big hug here. And closing your eyes. Focusing inward on your breath. And setting an intention for your practice today. Now extending your right leg and bringing that left leg across your body. You could use that block underneath your knee. You could always switch up the level of the block. And then opening up to the left, looking over that left shoulder if you wanted to close your eyes. Taking a couple of deep breaths into that lower back, breathing into any tightness that you may feel. Coming back center and switching sides, so extending that left leg, bringing that right leg across your body and placing your block, if you used it, underneath your leg and opening up to the right and looking over that right shoulder. And then coming back center, bending those knees. We're going to stretch out those hamstrings a little bit. So extending that left leg all the way up, placing that block behind your thigh and pulling that block into the back of your thigh as you press the back of your thigh into the block. Releasing those shoulders down to the mat and holding it here. Always listening to your body during your practice. And then switching sides, extending that right leg and simultaneously pressing the back of your thigh into the block as you pull that block into the back of your thigh, releasing those shoulders down, extending that foot up towards the ceiling. And then placing that block to the side, bringing those knees in and all the way to your right and making your way up to all fours. So keeping your hands underneath your shoulders and knees underneath your hips. Coming into a few circular motions, starting out to the right, inhaling as you start out and exhale as you come back around. Getting any kinks out that you may have. We'll do 2 more in this direction. And then switching. Last one. Now bringing yourself back into your child's pose. Big toes to touch, sitting those hips back to your heels and releasing your forehead down to the mat. And making your way into your first downward facing dog. So spreading those fingers, reaching forward, lifting those forearms off the mat, and then lifting those hips up, pedaling those feet, spreading through your toes. Now lifting that right leg up into three-legged dog, bending the knee and opening up to the right, and then stepping forward into a lizard pose, stepping your right foot on the outside of your right fingertips, releasing that left knee down to the mat and holding it here. If you wanted to come into a twisted lizard, just placing your right hand on that thigh and looking over your right shoulder. Breathing into those left hip flexors. And then stepping forward, sliding that left knee forward and stepping forward into a fold. Keeping your feet about hip width apart. Knees are slightly bent for your first fold. Taking a deep inhale as you come all the way up. Palms together overhead, and exhale, swan dive all the way down. Inhale, opening your heart forward with a flat back. And exhale, stepping back with that right leg into a high plank. And then the left. Releasing your knees and sinking all the way down, elbows in. Inhale, low cobra or upward facing dog. And exhale, coming to all fours. Coming into a little side plank here, extending that left leg. Keeping your right hand underneath your shoulder and right knee underneath that right hip. Extending that arm up and reaching forward and then all the way around and back up. We'll do that 2 more times. Warming up those shoulders. And then hold it here, and then coming all the way back down and back into your down dog. Lifting that left leg up into three-legged dog, bending the knee and opening up to the left, and then stepping forward into your lizard. If you wanted to come into a twisted lizard, placing that left hand on your thigh and looking over your left shoulder. And then sliding that right knee forward a little bit, stepping forward into your fold. Taking a deep inhale as you come all the way up, reaching overhead, palms together, and exhale, swan dive. Inhale, opening your heart forward with a flat back. And exhale, stepping back with that left leg and then the right into a high plank. Releasing the knees or sinking all the way down, elbows in. Inhale, low cobra or upward facing dog. And then exhale, coming to all fours, making your way into side plank on the opposite side. And opening up to the ceiling and reaching forward and then all the way around and back up. 2 more times. And then coming back down, stepping back into your downward facing dog. Lifting that right leg up into three-legged dog and stepping forward into your warrior 2. Aligning your back arch with your front heel. We're going to grab your block here. If you wanted to use a block, placing your hands, keeping that front knee aligned, right in line with that second toe. We're going to place your palms against the block and pressing all the way up. Overhead, release those shoulders down, away from your ears. And now we're going to reach forward, so engaging your core and reaching forward, keeping that knee aligned. And then coming back center. Keep releasing those shoulders. And now reaching back a little bit. Come back center, making sure this feels okay for that lower back. We're going to turn those toes facing to your left and then coming into a plie squat position and sinking down into your plie squat And still reaching those arms up overhead. You could look straight ahead, or you could look up at your block. And then coming all the way back up. We're going to turn that back heel, coming back into your warrior two, placing your block down, and coming into your extended side angle pose. And then reaching forward. And then lowering all the way down, placing your block to the side, and stepping back into your downward facing dog. Lifting that left leg up into three-legged dog, and stepping forward into your warrior two on the opposite side. Aligning your back arch with your front heel, grabbing your block, and making your way into your warrior. So checking that knee alignment, and then placing your palms on either side of your block, and lifting, looking to your right and lifting that block overhead, releasing your shoulders down away from your ears. And then we're going to reach forward. And then coming back center, tucking that belly button to the spine, reaching back. Coming back center, making your way into a plie squat. Arms overhead. Keep releasing those shoulders. You could look straight ahead or up at your block. And then making your way out of your squat, coming into your warrior two once again, and then into your extended side angle pose. So adjusting those feet. Reaching forward. And then stepping back into your down dog. Now from here, we're going to shift forward into a high plank. You could adjust your feet. And then lowering down, you could always release your knees down first. Coming into a locust pose, so reaching those arms back, grabbing onto your forearms or interlacing your fingers, and lifting forward and up. Sending those arms back, and then lifting those legs, pointing those toes back behind you. And then lower those legs, releasing your hands underneath your shoulders, taking a deep inhale as you come up to upward facing dog. And then releasing back down. So we're going to come into a bow pose. You could always do half a bow here, keeping that left elbow underneath your left shoulder, and then bending that right leg, grabbing onto the outside of your ankle, keeping those toes pointed as you open your heart forward and up, and lifting back your thighs up, pointing those toes up. Now if you wanted to go into a full bow, bending both knees, and lifting up. Slowly release, and then forming a little pillow with your palms and turning your cheek. And bringing your hands underneath your shoulders, elbows in, coming up into upward facing dog or low cobra. And back into child's pose. And then rolling up, we're going to come into a seated position. So grabbing your block, if you wanted to use your block, keeping your feet width apart, grabbing onto the back of your thighs and rolling down, sliding those heels to your middle fingers. And we're going to come into a supported bridge, so lifting your hips up, sliding that block underneath your glutes, and resting them on the block. You can release your arms by your sides, palms up, and closing your eyes. Now, if you wanted to release your knees out to the sides, coming into butterfly pose, palms of your feet are touching, opening up those hips. And then bringing those knees back up, lifting your hips up, and sliding that block to the side, stepping your feet out the width of the mat, releasing your knees in towards each other, allowing that back to lower down to the mat. Now extending those legs and making your way into Shavasana. Allowing those feet to flap open to the sides. Arms are along your sides, palms facing up. Softening your breath. Watch this next video for part 2 if you want to improve your balance and stability.